Now that the Spooky Kids were fully formed and with the beginnings of a local following, the band turned their attentions to promoting themselves.
Actually, the first time I ever became like a real fan was I saw them there and I recognized them as their name and everything. And then I went to a store called Uncle Sam's, which was a independent record store down here. And they had like a little metal, it was like a little lunchbox. I think it was a cardboard lunchbox that, you know, Marilyn made, and joined the Marilyn Manson and Spooky Kids fan club. And so I went out and I got a crayon and I wrote my name and address and put it in. The next minute I know, he called my answer machine and welcomed me into the fan club. And I used to get newsletters, which were incredible. I mean, the newsletters were just funny. They would come in the, you know, in the mail, and they would tell you to do little goofy things like, call this club, even though we're not playing, ask them when we're playing. And we used to do it. Prank this person, because, you know, Marilyn wouldn't like somebody. So let's prank this person, and we'd all prank them.
Well, one of the things I liked about Manson was he was influenced by like propaganda, which is something I've always been into. And I would see stickers and flyers for Manson before they even had a band. They were promoting, like, he kind of came up with Marilyn Manson as like a make-believe band. It wasn't even like something he was going to do, I think, you know, until he met Scott, and then they decided to start a band. But that was like the main thing, you know, promoting, making flyers, making posters, T-shirts, anything to like get the name out. And the philosophy, you know, we had is, if you have your name everywhere, people are going to think you're famous because they see you everywhere. Even if they don't like see it, they're going to see it, you know. And then when you tell them, oh yeah, I'm in Marilyn Manson, they're like, oh, I heard of you guys are great, you know. So it's like, it's propaganda and publicity.
You'd see them out in the clubs with their little lunch boxes, and they would hand out their flyers, which the flyers were always cool, and you wanted to save them because that was like, it was very unique and stuff. It wasn't like something you'd just throw away. They made it so interesting that you would save the flyers. They also had little stickers. They had, you know, candy bars. They had their own candy bars. They had anything that would draw some kind of attention.
As their efforts began to pay off, the band's demos attracted the attention of the local media and Florida DJ Glenn Richards.
We'd release demos like maybe every 6 months. You know, as soon as we wrote some new songs, we'd record them on the 4-track and then get them out to like local radio stations. So they would play them, and then we'd sell them at the shows, and pretty much just gave them out to people and just to create a buzz.
I think Glenn Richards was a big part of them becoming who they were. He was a radio DJ down here for a radio station called She. And he had a local show. And he supported a lot of local bands. But he was really into Marilyn Manson and Spooky Kids. He used to play their music. He used to wear the T-shirts. He used to be at every show, you know? Even if you pick up all the old demos, he was thanked in it. He was thanked on the first albums. You know, he was a major part of bringing them as big as they are.
I met Brian at a club in Hollywood, and he gave me the tape, Big Black Bus, 4 songs, and talked a little bit for a while. And then I had to go to another club to see another band. So I popped the tape in the car on the way, and I'm listening to it. And by the time I got to My Monkey, I knew what I was going to play. I mean, it stood out from the other songs on the tape. Strange Same Dogma, White Knuckles. You know, those were like really industrial songs. But My Monkey had more of a, it was a little bit slower, it had more of a rock, you know, kind of a rock beat. It was just funny. The voice on it, the lyrics were very funny. It was just catchy. I mean, it's just one of those songs that was catchy. I don't know if it was that following Sunday or not, I put it on, and I was waiting for the phone calls. What is that you're playing? Get that crap off the air. Kind of a redneck element in South Florida at the time. The only calls I got were, what was that and where can I get it? Who was that? Play more of that.
I was in my car driving from Palm Beach, and I heard this song on the radio, and it was a song totally unique, different and unique, and it caught my attention. And then what really shocked me was that at the end of the song, the DJ came on and said, you know, this was my #1 request this evening. It was Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids. It was a song called My Monkey. And it totally blew my mind. I was like, wow, you know, this is the same band. This is not the same band that I saw a few months ago. After hearing that, I pretty much, I was intrigued by what I heard. And I decided to contact the DJ that I had heard him play, my friend Glenn Richards. And I asked him, I said, is it true that this is, you know, that this was your most requested song? And that evening he says, yes, you know, the band has improved 100% and they have grown a lot. He says, you should manage these guys, Tovar. They have a future. There's a potential in them to be very successful, I think. And I was really impressed because I went to see them. It was like on a weeknight, like on a Thursday night, if I recall, and there were like 300 kids there to see Manson. They all looked like him. They all dressed like him. And there was a total fanatical thing, you know.
John Tovar, what a character. A tremendous ear for talent. He could find a band and know that they were going to be successful.
John Tovar was actually at our very first show at Churchill's, and he was one of the people that hated us. He didn't quite get it, and I don't blame him at all for it. But he'll tell you that he remembers, you know, walking away just hating it, just disgusted. And but about a year and a half, 2 years later, he approached us with his partner Frank Calari to manage us, and they helped out a lot. They got it. They understood what we were doing and how we were doing it.
As the band's local following swelled, they added Freddie Streithorst, aka Sarah Lee Lucas, on drums. They also developed an aspect of their performance, which would become an integral part of the Marilyn Manson package.
We started out with the drum machine, and we used that for like a year or two. And then I think it might have been Scott's decision to bring in the real drummer because he was friends with Freddie. So we figured we'd try it just to maybe give like more power to the music, to have live drums and to make it seem like a real band. So with the drum machine, it never really seemed like we were a band. It just seemed like we were just kind of like dancing monkeys in front of a machine. So we brought in Freddie, and it was funny too, man, because he's like a cripple. He's got like a gimpy leg, and he comes walking in like limping, and his one leg is like 1/10 of the size of his other leg. We're thinking, how's this guy gonna play, like, hit the bass drum, you know, and the hi-hat at the same time? But he was good.
With the drum machine, the sounds are there, but with the drummer, the person is there. I mean, just the simple, you know, being able to see the sticks flying and moving, and to hear the drums acoustically, it really makes a big difference, you know. And it gave us a more rock and roll aspect.
And I remember the first show that they got a live drummer when I went to see them at the Button South, and it just completely changed the energy of the band.